Now you actually created a documentary called Dark Girls and Light Girls.
Yes.
Um, and this actually was based on your own personal experiences, seeing how women of different complexions were treated as you were growing up.
Yes, how I was treated, how I saw women being treated, but more specifically, racism in our own community based upon slavery principles.
Yeah.
A lot of the racism in our community is based upon the house Negroes versus the field Negroes. And the house Negroes were the ones who Massa had sex with a slave and she'd have a baby. And because they were mixed, black and white, they have the privilege of working in the house as servants, cooks, maids, etc. But if you were dark, you worked in the field from sun up to sundown. And that was the division. And the field Negroes were not fond of the house Negroes because they had privileges. And the house Negroes were not fond of the field Negroes because they were privileged. Until this day, if you go online under hashtag Team Lightskin, hashtag Team Darkskin, you'll see light-skinned black women and dark-skinned black women working over beauty issues, and each of them has over 300,000 members. The irony is I have white female friends who go to tanning salons once or twice a week, become darker, crinkle up their hair, get Botox lips and butt lifts to look more ethnic.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be black except us.
It's interesting because recently I interviewed a rapper from Florida. His name is Glokk, and he's I believe he's Haitian, and he's very, very dark skinned, darker than you actually, I believe. And when I was talking to him, I asked, would he have a baby with someone of his own complexion? And he said definitely not.
I know if I'm fucking with you, I'm black as fuck, right? I'm black as shit.
Yeah, black is beautiful though, man.
So I know if I fuck with a black bitch, we gonna have a black ass baby.
So?
I ain't with that.
Why?
'Cause I'm already black as fuck.
So?
I can't. No.
It went viral afterwards, and everyone kind of got on him and everything. And he still and you know, and he responded. He said, "Listen, none of you guys know what I went through growing up, so you guys can't tell me
That's right.
what I'm gonna do. You know, fuck y'all."
Well, you know, do you know that I think it's 50 billion? Did you know that skin bleach, I think, is a $50 billion business? Globally?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's
Skin
crazy.
bleach. Have you seen Sammy Sosa?
Oh yeah, he looks crazy.
So I'm simply saying that this is an issue that exists today in a big way. There was in Dark Girls, my movie, we interviewed some women from Africa, and saw the African women in Africa, and some of them bleached their whole bodies, and they were pregnant, and they knew that the bleaching could impact the baby, but they still bleached their entire bodies.
Yeah, there's actually hold on, I could actually pull this up. I could show you what I'm talking about. There's a really famous reggae artist named Vibes Cartel.
Yes.
You know about him?
Yes.
And he's in prison right now for murder. You know, in Jamaica.
Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah. He got convicted of murder in Jamaica. But you know, he bleached his skin, and just recently, let me show you a picture of this. His 13-year-old son did the same thing as his dad. 13 years old.
You see, I think you saw in Dark Girls, this little girl, I think she was 5. And in my film, she's sitting in front of these dolls.
Yeah, the doll test. Yeah, I heard
The
about
doll
this.
test. And she's very dark like me, right? The little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And the psychologist asks her questions. They say, point to the beautiful doll. She points to the white doll. Point to the smart doll. She points to the white doll. Every time they ask her a question like that, she points to something that's opposite of herself. So
Yeah.
it's ingrained at a very early age. And so you come up with this, it's actually traumatizing experience.
Oh yeah.
And you don't just
Oh, yeah.
get over it. If you've been told you're ugly, one of the things in my film one of the moments that I never forget is this mother is driving her daughter from school with the daughter's in the back seat and her best friend's next to her in the passenger seat. And she looks in the mirror back at her daughter and she says to her friend, look how beautiful my daughter is, you know, the cheekbones, the eyes, you know. Can you imagine how fabulous she would be if she had some lightness to her skin? This is in front of her daughter. And my friend, she's not saying it in a way that's trying to in any way damage her daughter. This is an ingrained belief. She's just wishing her daughter could be lighter.
It's sad, man. In 2018, that we're still having this conversation.
I think it's
In
tragic.
2018. But, I think a lot of people don't realize, when people say, well, slavery was a long time ago, get over it. But America's actually had slavery longer than they didn't have slavery.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's right, true. And we still suffer from the trauma of that. It was our Holocaust, and people are still suffering from it in a lot of ways. And we have to do something about it. We can't keep complaining and suffering and saying, oh, I'm not doing this or that because of segregation or slavery, whatever. And we have to get off our butts and start to save our communities. And that's imperative, especially Black men and women. But to suggest that it had no impact and still has, Deepak Chopra wrote this brilliant book, which I read, called Super Genes. And it talks about genetic inheritance. And they did this experiment, him and his partner in the book did this experiment on this calf, female calf. And she was fenced in a fence that was electrified. And they fed the calf and everything. And she grew into an adult, female cow. And they brought a bull in and she got impregnated. And, but one day before she was impregnated, the female calf touched the fence with her nose and burned her nose. And burned her, but it healed. So once she was impregnated, the calves came out, little cows came out. And they watched those cows for a long time. Not one of those cows ever went near that fence.
Yeah, you pass down your trauma.
Genetically.
Genetically, yeah, I've heard that before.
And slavery has been passed down genetically.